howdy, and welcome to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. And this time, we have a special guest with us from down in the Lone Star State. But before we get to that, I'd like to thank the folks who have become proud members of the Knights of Squatchingham by donating to this program to keep it coming to you folks. They've been doing some heavy lifting here, and I really, really appreciate it. All those who have been donors to the show and have, joined onto the team to help keep these shows coming to you. I really appreciate it. You guys have been great. And the other thing that I'd like to mention is that it looks like a tentative date, probably likely date, so let's just say 95%, for the meet and greet this year. We're looking at June 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So anybody that wants to go and go out in the woods for 3 days and go look for Bigfoot, I'm going. And whoever else shows up, they can go with me too. So it's the once a year open, show up, meet Duke, go squatching ordeal, and see who else shows up. Sometimes other really pretty well-known squatchers will show up too, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, let's get on to the main part of our program here today. And I'd just like to say that this is a little bit of a departure from what I usually do here, because this is one of those people that did not get involved in a Bigfoot because they had some horrible experience and, got bluff charged or had a log thrown at them or something like that. It's someone that just has always been sort of interested in it and recently started looking into it more and started to have interesting things happen as a result. So with that, let me bring to the show the founder and guiding force of East Texas Bigfoot, Mary Bolin. Welcome to the show, Mary.
Thank you, Duke. Hello.
Nice to have you on the show. So why don't we tell everybody how it is that you got involved in this whole weird Bigfoot thing?
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start out saying, when I was 11 and 12 years old, I actually lived in Falk, Arkansas.
Da, da, da.
So that kind of started me off. Of course, I was, young, and at the time, as soon as you get to Falk, everybody's like, you can't help but know all about, the Falk monster and the movie and all that stuff. And, I was 11 or 12 years old, so I found it, oddly intriguing and slightly scary, to be honest. So we I didn't really do a lot of, care too much about it back then. But, I'd hang out with some of my friends. We'd walk the streets of Falk at night. And, a couple of times with some friends, we'd go out and, down to the bogs just to see if we could get any kind of action going on with the older kids. And a couple of times we did. Like, they would yell and whoop and carry on. And a couple times we get a couple of whoops back, and it'd scare the holy crap out of us, and then we'd leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and then,
now, what was it like growing up in a town that's like notorious / famous for having a monster?
it was pretty cool. But as you live there, you don't, I guess you don't feel like your town it's not that big a deal to you because you live there and you hear all the stories and people's always talking about it and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. But like I said, I was a teenager. I had more other things on my mind and didn't really think about it too much. There wasn't, you lose the fear of it after a while and you just go about your life.
Yeah. So was it pretty much, just kind of curious what since you grew up there and you were there for years and years, what was the take like on that in the town? Did most of the people think it was like BS, or did most of them believe it, or what was that like?
Most of them believed it. And in fact, a lot of people, if you would start talking about it, if it got brought up, there was stories after stories after stories. Oh, my uncle and my aunt seen one, or there's some down on such and such road. And I used to hang out with a kid and he had one in his backyard. There was always stories. You could sit around for hours and people always had stories. So it was interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I bet. So, well, that made you guys even braver then, because, there's like a local monster. Pretty much everybody thinks it's real. And you're going out in the woods making a racket. Huh.
Yeah, we would go on purpose and make a racket just to see, hey, you want to go mess with this folk monster? Let's go mess with him. So basically, we were like the commercial. We were messing with Sasquatch way back in the day.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right, you guys are lucky you didn't really make him mad and he'd show up and squash the living bejeebers out of you or something.
Well, I heard a whoop scream, two of them actually, when at one point when we went down there with probably a group of 6 or 7, and I was scared. I was scared to go down there because, I mean, it was all fun and talking about it and hearing the stories, but when the further and deeper you get way back in the bogs, and it was so thick and with woods, it was scary because I'm like, I don't really want to see this thing. But, of course, the teenage boys, they're 16, 17 years old. They're, they got to be brave. So they'd go down there and they'd, do the high howls and hollers and all that and listen back and kind of goof off. And then all of a sudden we heard something that, sounded like a lot of stuff that I've heard, some of Cindy's stuff, just a whoop howls like, and it just didn't sound right. And it just sent chills down you. And that was it. That scared the holy crap out of us. And we get the hell out of there. We're like, okay, this thing, we probably shouldn't be messing with him. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I can see that. And again, these are the local kids that know what the local animals sound like. And you're all going, I don't know what that is. Let's go.
Yeah, we couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. So you got yelled at by the whoop howled at by the folk monster. And then, so how long did you actually end up living there then? How old were you when you moved?
Well, I was actually only there for about 3 years. So moved away when I was about 13. Okay. And back down here to East Texas, actually close to where I live now. And, over the years, you just forgot about it. Fast forward to, about a year ago, and I was just bored on YouTube one day and I seen something about Bigfoot, and immediately that memory, hey, I remember I used to live in Falk. I wonder, hey, I'm going to watch that video. And it just spiraled out of control from that one video. I watched one, you watch another one, and all of a sudden you're like looking for more videos and more videos. And then I came across your channel not that long afterward. And of course, you've got a fantastic show. You know how you show the videos and the pictures and the evidence and stuff. And I was just fascinated with, of course, your voice. You got a really good radio voice, and, started posting and talking to you a little bit. And at first just watched lots of videos. And in fact, I got come across Sasquatch Chronicles, and I'm not going to lie, his show scared the crap out of me a couple times. And yeah. I remember thinking to myself, going, what is wrong with these people? Why do they keep going in the woods? What's wrong with them? I was thinking, there is no way I would go in the woods looking for this big crazy thing, because I was scared. I had just a horrible fear of it at the time, and then as time went by, I ended up getting to know you, and we started talking a little bit, and shared a lot of stories, and we started talking about structures and things like that, and it kind of just got to the point one day, and I was like, there's some woods around my house. I'm going to go out in them dang woods and see if I see anything that could possibly be. There's no way. I thought there was just no way. Not around my house.
Right. And yeah, it's got to be further away.
It's got to be. There's no, I'm like not far from town. I live by a pretty good sized highway. There's just no way. And so I talked to my sister-in-law next. I had been, of course, sharing stories with her and talking. I talked about you and your show, and showed her pictures all the time. And I was like, "Hey, let's go walk in the woods. You want to go with me?" And she's like, "Sure, let's do that." And from the very first time I went out and actually started researching, I've come across a tree break. And this was in the end of probably October. It's pretty hot. We hadn't had any rain at that time for about 3 months. So with no lightning, no wind, nothing. There's no reason. This tree was still alive. It was broke about 8 foot up, and it still had green leaves on it. So it was a fresh break. And that just immediately caught my attention. I went, well, that's strange. I just thought it was really strange. So I started looking around, and I come across something that looked sort of like a TP structure, and then some X's and leaners. And I was like, what the hell? This can't be in my yard. What's this? And just went from there and, searched around that area and found some interesting stuff. And I was kind of addicted at that point. So me and her decided we'd go look around in some other areas. And that's when I think the second or third time I came across this giant X I seen in a creek, kind of a large creek we have down the road, probably a few miles down the road, and seen it from the road. I'm like, yo, you got to stop. I see something. And I was like, man, that's a really big X. And of course I'm intrigued with the X's. I've seen, the gigantic ones that you show all the time. And this was nothing compared to what yours was, but here in East Texas was one of the biggest ones I've ever found. So didn't have any camera equipment, didn't have anything but my phone. And, I took a picture of it or a few pictures of it, and come home and stuff like that. And I was looking at the picture later and I see something behind that X. And I was like, wait a minute, what in the heck is that? And I'm sure you'll be showing these pictures. Just some very odd looking faces. And you, even without cropping the picture, you can see them. And I'm like, what is that? And I got completely intrigued at that point. I spent 2 months trying to find out who owned that property. I went on Facebook. I called people, you name it. I tried to get a hold of somebody who owned that property because it said private property. And I wanted to go back out there. And because I wanted to see, is there anything behind that exit that possibly could be, even though I didn't believe that because of what it looked like when I was finding. But I finally ended up just going on private property and got a video down there of what was behind that X, and there's nothing behind it. There's nothing behind it. So it just went from there. I mean.
So you got the comparison shot, which of course we're showing here, and there's, yes, that whatever it was is not there in the comparison shot. But the other thing before you skip over too fast is that was a big X.
It really was.
That thing's huge. Yeah.
It was big, and that's another reason why I wanted to go down there and take a look at it later. It actually was much bigger than I thought it was. And I was like, wow, and it just, again, it intrigued me. And it went from there as it became what I would call an addiction. I started looking around. I started to go, watch videos about, Mineola Nature Preserve. So that's where I started going next. We'd go down there and I started finding again some really odd stuff. Found a really big bin that was tucked under some logs, and one that was just forced into the ground, and I mean just all kinds of interesting things like that. So found one little area down there at Mineola Nature Preserve where I actually named it the land of X's and Y's in bins, because everywhere you look, they were just everywhere. And it was just that one particular area, and I actually ended up naming it the creepy area because the first time I went down in there, I got this really creeped out kind of feeling like something maybe was watching me. And I was, of course, keep in mind, very new. I wasn't, by all means, I'm still new, but it was one of the first time I'd actually been out to Mineola Nature Preserve, and got a really creeped out feeling for whatever reason, and really just immediately wanted to leave. Like, I don't know, I just got scared and I want to get out of here. And ended up, been back to that area. I've gotten braver since then. And actually had a group of researcher friends of mine, because now I've got lots of friends that do it as well, and I go out with them, and they've actually been down there at night in the creepy area where they've actually heard something jump out of the tree and land on 2 feet, like within probably 20 feet of them. So we're going to be researching that particular area again.
Yeah, I've heard that before, and that's like, it's kind of a creepy sound because it's not like something going and landing. It's like a thud. Like, somebody dropped 800 pounds from a crane and it would thud onto the ground. So
right.
You can almost feel it if you're close enough.
Right. And I was unable to go that particular weekend, but they did find a juvenile print out there close to the area. And so, like I said, I had met up with some other researchers, started going out with, meeting more and more people. And we actually did a scouting trip, probably a mile from that creepy area. And I was with 2 or 3 other people, and we actually came across some adult prints, which I sent you the pictures of. Very exciting. Wasn't far off the trail. Was getting closer and closer to the river. And there was a particular area out there that a friend of mine had a sighting, an actual sighting. So was very excited to learn that. And I guess I'll say at this point, I went from being afraid to excited and just can't wait to get more. I want to know more. I want to learn more. I want to find more evidence. It's like I take every opportunity now that I can to go out.
What was it like when you found your first track?
When I found my first track, I was like a little kid that with my first Christmas present ever. I mean, I wasn't scared. I was excited as a person could get. I'm like, because I was looking, and I had been stayed at a cabin in particular, just to try to look, I was trying to get some activity because I hadn't found a print of my own at that point. Since then, we found, it's funny, once I found the first print, I found like 5 since then, but
that didn't take you very long. And they weren't all in one place either.
No, they weren't all in one place. And I started researching seriously probably November of this last year, so in 2018. And when I found my first print, I had heard a big hit on the cabin we were staying in. And there was no trees nearby the cabin. It was freezing cold, probably 25 degrees outside. I had been, playing some sounds, some loud sounds and things like that of Sasquatch sounds. At that point, I've been searching enough that I was like, I want something. I want to hear something. I want to see something. I want to find a print. I don't care. And I know you shouldn't play sounds and stuff like that, but I didn't care. I wanted to get some action. I was getting at that point where I want some action, but heard a big hit about 2:00 in the morning on the cabin that I had absolutely no doubt when I heard what that was. Like I just knew it in my heart. I felt it. And, of course, ran out a few minutes later, couldn't see anything. It was pitch dark and all that stuff. So the next morning was out looking around, and faintly I saw a print. And I think that's the one I sent several different, I kind of shaded it in color so it'd stand the print out better. And actually there was more than one print. It looked like what was knuckle prints or something. And I'm not sure. It could be just toes of another print, but it looks different from the other print. And then there was a 3-toed print behind another one. It's like there was 2 or 3 around, obviously, and got some really good prints. Unfortunately, the dirt was really, really hard. And I didn't even think the pictures would show up as good as they did. But thank God they did. But I wasn't able to cast it or anything like that. Yeah. But when I found that, I mean, you talking about elated. And I thought to myself, well, if you found a print, what are you going to do? Is that going to scare you? I was asking myself, is it going to? And I said, well, I really don't know. And it just made things worse for me. Now I'm even more addicted than I ever have been. I'm like, it just keeps getting worse. And then I think, breathe, sleep it. I mean, and talk about it. I mean, I can't shut up about it. People are probably getting annoyed with me, probably.
Happens with us, too. So did you go in at the point where you decided you were actually going to go out and look for yourself? Were you like pretty much 100% convinced they're real? Or were you still just like trying to convince yourself by looking for evidence?
Well, I believed that they were real because I lived in Falk. I had heard them, even though it was a very long time ago. I have had enough friends, talked to you enough times. I was meeting more and more people that had footprints, evidence, pictures, all kinds. And so I absolutely did believe they're real. What I wanted to know is if they were around in my area. Uh-huh. Like, I want to know if they're around here. I want to see what I can find. And I became obsessed, and still am obsessed with what I can find in my own particular area. And that's why I started, and I started my YouTube channel, not for fame or fortune, because we all know that ain't gonna happen. I did it because I wanted to document what I was finding, like, because I intend to continue to do this for over the years. I mean, it's not even been a year yet, but I want to be able to look back in a couple of years from now and in an area and say, I remember finding that, and now this is different, or this has changed. So at first that was, that's my or still is my main reason for documenting. And you'll know my videos are very, very short. I don't just walk around the woods for an hour showing video. If I find something, I'll show a 2-minute video, 3-minute video, whatever, of what I'm finding, documenting, stuff like that.
Right on. People have short attention spans nowadays, so in general, that's probably the best game plan anyway. And, people are busy, so they have maybe got 45 minutes to watch a whole video for the sake of a couple pieces in it that are, like 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
So, I actually like that. I think that's great. And, and the other thing is that if it's most of this stuff doesn't require tons of context. You don't need to show that you're walking for a half an hour to the woods to get to where the tree structure is. You just need to show the tree structure.
Right.
If you want to spin in a circle around it and show that it's not near a road or something, that's great too. But,
right.
So yeah, I agree with you on that. Now, so you haven't had an actual for sure sighting. What did you think that weird thing was over by the X structure in the river when you found that thing in the picture?
Well, personally, like I said, I've never seen a Bigfoot yet. And I'll say yet because I'm going to. I know I'm going to. I'm not going to stop until I do. I'm obsessed with that. But I thought it was something, related. I'm like, well, what do they look like? I don't know. I personally haven't seen them. I mean, you've seen pictures. We've all seen pictures. They all look so different depending on the area they are, whether they're young, old, or small or big, So the one in the middle, the one with the right in the middle of that X, is kind of, you could see the eyes, the face, and I personally think that may be a young one, a small one, maybe a baby or something like that, which not really sure. Like I said, I'm not sure what I was seeing. I just knew I was seeing something that didn't add up, that shouldn't, I guess, be there unless it was, behind an X of all things, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to feel bad about that because by no means am I even remotely certain what the heck it was you got a picture of. The only thing we know is when you went back and took the follow-up picture, it wasn't there. So it was something that was alive and moving around, and it left.
Right. And, one of the things that I've started, and I'm learning, I mean, by all means, I'm so very new at what I'm doing. I'm learning more and more all the time from other great researchers and things like that. But I'm trying to, I started I came back home. And what I mean by that is I started back researching just around my house. And because at the time I had only researched on one part of the property by my house. And I said, well, now there's a lot more woods out here. Let's go start searching some more. And so I came across one of the most unique, beautiful structures. It had double Ys. It had the interweaving. It was just beautiful. It was, and then I found that on a part of my woods, and I come across a triangle that was twisted and bent, and some things like that, and another TP structure that was just beautiful. In fact, I think I sent you that video on the pictures, and still that one still fascinates me. I check on it regularly now. So I came and I just started searching more, and the more I searched around my house, the more stuff I kept finding. I'm like, oh my God, they're living like in my backyard. But so I've began researching more and more, and actually recently came across got with a veteran 25-year guy in my own area that's been researching, and his wife, she's fantastic as well. And we went and started checking around. We spent 3.5 hours in the back part area of my yard. And we come up, it was funny, Duke, because I knew where every structure was. This is a few acres, quite a few acres of land around me. And I knew right where to go. I'm familiar now with this area, with my own area. And we come across a footprint that was about 16 inches. And I've got my boot and my buddy Luke's boot. And you can see us. We're both standing there. So you can kind of check how big the print was. And then we came across another print in another area where there's an X. And this X I had filmed a while back. It had like 2 Ys on it. And yeah, that could be a natural X. We're not sure. But then we were just kind of wandering around and go, wait a minute. There's another print. There's a print. And so we found 2 prints on the same day. And that was last weekend.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool.
And this is right in the woods near your house.
Yes, I could get to those prints right now in 10 minutes.
Is that a tad unnerving knowing that they're that close to where you're living? No,
actually, strangely enough, no. It's exciting. I just like every time I hear something, anything anymore, or I'm always peering out in the darkness. I've got some, and since then I've got me a really nice camera now that zooms in, really good, P900. I also got a listening device, and I'm gonna work on getting some recorders, things like that, stuff like that. So no, it's not unnerving at all, mainly because I've lived here for 10 years. If they've been around here for 10 years or longer, they know I'm here. They've heard my dog, they've heard my kids, they've heard me. They know I don't feel threatened at all.
Well, I was just going to say, for the benefit of the listeners, here's another interesting point. You've been living in that same area for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And you never had any notion that there was Bigfoot around there. And then you went and did some research and figured out what to look for just as signs that they were around there. And as soon as you went out there, you found signs that they were around there.
Yeah, boy,
to me, that would have been like, whoa. How sneaky are these guys? I've been here for 10 years, had no clue that they were around until I knew what to start looking for and where to look for it. I had no idea they were here.
Right. Now, looking back over the last 10 years, now there was a time me and my sister-in-law was walking their dog behind, there's a service road behind my house that cuts through the woods. And we heard something with two legs following us in the woods. And we were like, at the time, your mind just don't go there. At the time, I wasn't researching Bigfoot, wasn't even thinking about it at the time. And we hear something in the woods, like trailing us, and we're like, hey, do you hear that? Yeah, I hear that. And it's big. It sounds bigger. And it was like, it's way bigger than air stabs. And, and we'd stop and it'd stop. We'd start, it'd start. We'd stop and it'd stop. And we'd like, okay. And we got scared. We were like, maybe there's, in our mind, we said, well, maybe there's a homeless guy in the woods and he's following us. So we better get the hell out of here. And we did. We left. And then you just blow it off. You think, well, it's just probably and it's humorous to me now to think, yeah, sure, it was middle of summertime, snakes out there crazy, the woods are really thick, and there's this homeless guy walking around out in the woods following us around.
Yeah. He's got nothing better to do.
I don't think anymore that's what that was. I actually think may definitely have been a Sasquatch that was just happened to be out there coming through or whatever. And then we've heard things like just odd sounds. We heard a pig being murdered one. Not say murdered because this poor thing was getting murdered, and then it cut off like something just ripped its head off. It just went from screaming to nothing. And we don't have bears. If we do have bears in East Texas, they're not very big. If we do, but really we don't have bears. There could be a cougar around, something like that, but just didn't sound right. That sound just didn't sound that. Now we also heard a knock one night. We were messing around after I had just started researching, me and my friend Gail, and she's like, had heard about these knocks, and she's like, knock, knock, knock. I'm like, don't do that. I said, don't do that. You shouldn't be doing stuff like that. You don't know what that means, because I've been told that by you and a few other people. So I'm like, don't do that. And she does, she did it, and she stopped, and I'm like, well, yeah, just don't do that. And then back over there where I found the TP structure, and I know right where it was from where we were standing, probably not an eighth of a mile away, we hear it, knock, knock, knock. And we both just looked at each other, and our eyes got about gigantic. And like, yeah, let's not do that again, because we don't want to call them up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't encourage the Squatches. Don't hug the Wookiee.
Right.
Not the best of plans. Well, at least on the one hand, it isn't like you're not call blasting right from your house or anything, and they're right. Yeah, they're right around there. So why would you need to?
Yeah. So I decided not to do the call blasting because I've got children, and that's honestly the only reason why I ain't doing it. Because I wouldn't care. I mean, I'm at the point I don't care anymore. I'm like, come on, Sasquatch, I want to talk with you.
Yeah.
But I've got children that live here, and so I don't. And I've also got people that live right next door to me, so I don't know that I want to call them up here, on purpose. So I waited to do the call blasting, and I'm not saying people should try that anyway. Like I've been told and have heard, you don't know what you're saying, you don't know what kind of sound you're making. I think that's probably a dangerous thing, but I've got to the point from not being afraid to being a little bit brave, maybe too brave sometimes. I even went to Falk, Arkansas by myself on a little trip and walked out by a cemetery in the woods and done a little filming, and right before dark. And that was interesting. I got pretty creeped out over there too. For some reason, I was a little scared.
Yeah, we got the video to prove it too. Because and it's right before dark. You're walking around there in the twilight in the spooky woods right next to the folk graveyard by yourself. So we should show everybody that footage. Let's show it to it.
Well, I mean, right now. I was just thinking, why not? What, Jerry? I was in South Arkansas at the cemetery, Rocky Mountain Cemetery, by myself, and we're going to walk in the woods. See what we can find or hear. Let's look. Did y'all hear that? I heard noise. Let's go. Let's keep going.
It's a little thicker than I thought it would be. See if I can bend. Yep. Oh yeah, I see bends. There's another one. There's another one. It's very quiet out here. Ooh, I see another one. Get in the briars. Yeah. Y'all hear that? Nothing. It's so quiet. I seen something over here. Another bend. See if I can get to it. This one. Yeah, that's a nice bend. We got this bend. Look at this part. This bend here. Got a little bend. There's a little leaner stick. Lots of bends out here. And there's a skull. Not sure what that is. Maybe I don't know. Y'all tell me. Some kind of little skull. I think though there's some woods going on the way out that I can go in. It's not quite as thick. And I thought I seen some structures, so I think I'm gonna go out there. Y'all going with me, so I'm not by myself, because I'm by myself. Y'all be nice to me out here today. Do a little pan. And y'all don't call me a chicken for not going in too deep by myself. Because I am by myself. And it is 4:30 in the afternoon. Hear that? Nope, nothing. This is for you, Vernon. Look where I'm at. I'm in Falk, Arkansas, cemetery by myself in the woods. Yep, I'm crazy. East Texas Bigfoot research. Alright, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to go down the road that way, just a little ways. And then I'm going to go back in.
You know, why not? What would Jerry Klein do? Because he's a friend of mine. And, I guess I wasn't trying to be stupid or anything like that. And I was talking the whole time, I was actually very apprehensive about being out there by myself, but you wouldn't know it listening to the video because I'm hiding it real well. But I got the super creeps, kind of like bumps on my arms, all kinds of stuff. And actually at one point got almost not turned around when I went out to that last video. And I couldn't see my car for a few seconds, and I almost panicked. I'm like, oh, did I get in here? What am I doing? You know, I'm out here by myself in Falk, Arkansas, and I can't see my car. What am I thinking? And got a little bit turned around, and thank God I did see the car. And I actually was further away than I thought I was. And I said, yeah, it's time to get out of here. And I couldn't wait to get out of there. Like I was getting the creeps really bad in that area too. And I actually looked it up later. There was a sighting about a mile from there.
Perhaps not surprisingly. If you went in there further, you probably would have started finding structures and stuff too, no doubt.
Yeah, I was seeing some bends, and I did find a really cool looking little weaved thing when I first went in there. And yeah, so yeah, I wanted to go deeper. I don't know what was wrong with me. I really don't. And I even thought when I got back to my car, I for some reason I was thinking, it's almost dark. Just sit here in your car. You might hear something. Something might come up. You know, you're in Falk, Arkansas. Take the opportunity. And then another part of me was going, what's wrong with you? Get the hell out of here. By yourself. You're in Falk, Arkansas on a graveyard by yourself. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what was wrong with me, but I got to the point where I'm not afraid, and I'm just excited. I got an opportunity to go down to Sam Houston National Forest with a friend of mine. I don't think he'll care if I say his name, Michael Waldy. And he's just he researches in Oklahoma and some other areas. But a whole group of people at the conference decided they would go to Sam Houston National Forest. And I got invited to that, and I actually got Lisa McDonald. You remember her? I got to meet up with her as well. Yeah. And we all decided to go out there together and meet up with some other people, which we did. And we ended up, I know this sounds crazy, but we ended up going in a little ways, and they had heard something the night before, and a couple of them were a little apprehensive. And me and Michael decided to continue on by ourselves. And the moon was out, so we didn't have any flashlights. We went out in the dark down a logging road by ourselves with no flashlights in the Sam Houston National Forest. And it was really fun. We would hear stuff. We heard some knocks up ahead of us, and it was just an amazing experience. And I know that sounds weird because I wasn't as much afraid as I was very calm. I was very excited, and I was on my toes. Like, we were really watching out for each other. We stayed back to back, stuff like that. Then we ended up going to Kelly's Pond, which is also down at Sam Houston National Forest. There had been a lot of sightings down there and stuff like that. Met up with some other researchers down there, and we just had a blast. I don't think I've ever had as much fun, and that was actually my very first night experience. Got a lot of trips planned now. In fact, this is kind of funny. I've actually taken a job that helps me squatch more. And what I mean by that, I took a job where I work 7 days on and then I'm off 7 days. And I took that job on purpose so I could spend more time squatching because I've gotten very serious about it. I'm fascinated. I love it. I'm fascinated with it. I love the people I'm meeting. It's really changed my life. I mean, I'm not even kidding. It has really changed my life. I've went from, wasn't real content with my life. I've got out of a bad relationship. I've lost weight. I'm healthier. I work out. I've quit smoking. I've met some of the most amazing people. I've found prints. I just haven't, my life is an adventure now. And it's all started because of coming across some YouTube channels, especially your channel, Duke. I have to say it's been one of the best experiences for me, and I absolutely love my life right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy to hear it. One thing I want to point out to the listeners on that long list of changes that have just happened, literally just about everything on there has to do with Bigfooting. You quit smoking because you want to have better control of your lungs and more endurance so you can walk further. You've been losing weight. Why? Because you've been out running around the woods looking for Bigfoot.
Right.
And getting lots of exercise. And so that's been working right off you. And then, of course, you're paranoid. Hey, if I'm out in the woods looking for Bigfoot, what if I run into some crazy person or something, which is a real possibility? I better be able to defend myself. So you're taking self-defense classes.
Yeah, I've actually
been,
I started taking self-defense classes. I take them every week. Learned a lot of stuff. And that's not really for Bigfoot. That's just for God only knows what you'll come across out there. You know what I mean?
For GT, but again, this is because you're going to be in the woods and you're more likely to run into a crazy person. You feel it's more timely to get these skills right now. And, so what have you got going on here? Well, you're learning how to fight and defend yourself. You're walking around a ton. You quit smoking. Well, that's pretty much a guaranteed regimen to put yourself in really great shape.
Right.
Well, that's all like super positive changes too.
It has been super positive change. It's just been like I said, I need to do a thank you video for thank you, Bigfoot. You've changed my life, and it really it has. And I mean, I wouldn't go back if I could. It's just like I said, I love it. All the stuff that I've done. I mean, when I first started going out, I bet I couldn't walk a mile without being like out of shape, tired, and just going. I just wanted to keep going out, and I think my last hike was 5 miles, and we done it in a half a day.
Wow. Yeah, I see. Yeah, you start getting up into that 5 or 10 mile hiking range in a day. You can cover a lot of ground. I mean, that's very helpful for something like this. Like if you're just looking on a map going, well, according to the way the lay of the land is, they should be approximately here. And then you can go and actually pretty much cover that area in short order. It really helps a lot, tracking down where they're at and where their favorite hangout spot is, where they're moving.
Right. We drop pins now. I drop pins now when I'm out there. Yeah. And I've been taught to drop pins, and I also carry a thing that shows me how far I'm going and stuff like that. And so we were 2.25 miles in when we found some more footprints down at the Mineola Nature Preserve. So some really good prints. And so that was cool, and we were able to drop a pin. And so we know exactly where that was and stuff like that. So just learning things like that from other, more experienced researchers. I'm like, I can't learn fast enough. I can't learn enough. I'm grateful for all the people I met. They're just amazing people, and they're so interesting. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's got their thing, whether it be people that go hunting, fishing, whatever. We go hunt Bigfoot, and it's like it's just been amazing. It's really just been amazing.
Well, it's great to hear that. You hear negative things about the community and stuff like that, and some of it's deserved, and yes, it's going on, and there's bad people with negative attitudes and axes to grind. But by and large, the people that are actually really serious about it, that are go out looking for Bigfoot, or just really interested in the topic and want to watch all the shows and everything like that, those are really good people. The vast majority of them are just really curious. You get some of them that have actually seen one or experienced a Class B encounter or something, where they're at a campsite and the trees next to them is being shook and howl and blah, blah, blah. Pretty sure it's a Bigfoot and they haven't seen one yet. But for the most part, I just can't even right off the top of my head think of anybody that's actually that fascinated by this subject. It's really kind of like mean and obnoxious.
Oh, I'm so fascinated. I'm lucky. Like I said, some of the people I'm researching with have had tons of sightings. They've had encounters, sightings, seen trees shake, heard them, you name it. They've got audio. They've got their own, pictures and stuff like that, and they talk about the encounters and sightings they have. And I feel honored that I'm a part of all this, and it's in my area now. I mean, I'm actually been able to research with people in my own area. Right. And meeting more and more people that are, and that's really what my goal was when I first started doing this. Is like, I want to find out what's in my area. So being able to meet up with people that's within an hour or two range of me, and getting together with them and saying, hey, we've had some experiences here, here, and here, and this is an active area over there, or, just knowing where we're going to go next. And then we start planning trips and stuff like that. I've got a trip coming up actually this weekend. And in a couple of weeks, in Falk, Arkansas again. It'll be my third time going back over there. Right. I'm going to research with some really experienced people, and that know where they're at and have experiences and stuff like that every time they go out. So I'm extremely excited about that.
Sounds like a blast. I know that when we were talking about it earlier on, like last fall and everything, when we were in contact, and you were talking about going out and going squatching and finding tree structures, and you were starting to put all your videos together and stuff. And if I remember right, I think I was the one that said, hey, have you bothered to check the woods around your house?
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? That's a good starting place. I'm sure I won't find anything, Duke, but I'll go do that.
Yeah, and you seemed like you were pretty sure you weren't going to find anything because you had been living there 10 years.
Yeah. And then I believe I remember calling you, and I don't think you could understand what I was saying because I was talking so fast. Duke, you're not going to believe what I found, blah, 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 blah. I took some pictures. And I couldn't send the pictures fast enough to you. I was just amazed. And you're like, yep, not surprised at all. And I can't believe this. I can't believe this. And then it just went spiraled out of control from there. I'm now completely 100% obsessed. Thanks, Duke.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No. It's funny to me though, because when you started out, you were just so fascinated by the subject, and you thought, A, there's no Bigfoot near my house, and B, there's no Bigfoot researchers anywhere around near where I live.
And it's amazing to me how many people that's around me that do research now.
Yeah.
I can't believe, I'm like, wow, you really? And Mineola? Oh, I know that place. I know this area. I know this area. I mean, I've lived in this East Texas for most of my life, so I'm familiar with just about every area they've ever said. And I'm like, really? They're over there too. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting thing about Texas is, a lot of the Lone Star State inhabitants do not know that there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings in Texas. Some areas are really squatchy. And it sort of seems like it's the locals that kind of have the heads up that know that something is going on around there. And they're not really advertising it, but they're having fun researching it because they're aware that there's Bigfoot here. They're not just up in the Pacific Northwest. We got them here in Texas, too.
Right. And case in point, or where I work now, I actually take care of clients in their home as a caretaker. And the first week I was on my new job, of course, I have World Bigfoot Radio on the back of my car. And then I have a sticker that says "Walk This Way" with Sasquatch. And the first thing, one of the sons that the client I take care of, sons came in, and the first thing he said, he didn't say hello, he didn't say hi, my name is whatever. He said, "I like that sticker on your car." And I said, cool. I said, actually, I researched around here. And he goes, really? And he just immediately went into telling me the story about him and his brother when they were 11th and 12th grade in high school, that around Limestone Lake in East Texas, and about 2 hours from where I'm at now. And he said that him and his brother were out coon hunting. And, it was a new lake. The lake wasn't full yet. It was a man-made lake. And they had done that most of their life. They were out coon hunting. And they were just one night just sitting out there coon hunting. And all of a sudden they said they heard what they could only really describe as the Incredible Hulk out in the woods. I mean, it was just, screaming. And it didn't sound, like a roar. It wasn't like a wolf or anything. It said it sounded like the Incredible Hulk. That's the best description they could give of it. And the next day or two later, I actually met the other son, because a different son comes to check on their dad every day. And he told me the exact story, and he was just as excited about it. And they were fascinated with, I was talking about it to him. I told him about your channel. I was telling them about other Bigfoot people, and I was showing them pictures, and they were just absolutely fascinated. And it was so funny to me that once you start getting into this crazy Bigfoot world, how many other people, if you bring it up, and a lot of times they just don't say nothing about it unless you bring it up. But I thought, how fascinating was that for me to be working for someone that's had, some kind of experience with it, and I thought that was just too cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I run into that sort of thing all the time. I got somebody here locally I'm trying to get on the show right now, and they work at the local gas station. I went into the local gas station with Sasquatch Chronicles shirt on. And he said, "Oh, I've seen a Bigfoot before." And I went, "Yeah, really? You should tell me about this." And so after a couple customers went through the line, we had a couple minutes, he explained to me that he had actually seen one on the side of a mountain. Him and his girlfriend were walking along, and they saw one, and he made a racket to attract its attention. And it looked to him like it tried to hurl something at him, but it was like, a quarter mile away, so it was a little too far to hit him.
Wow.
But him and his girlfriend followed this thing, and they snapped like 12 pictures of it. And there's timestamps on all the pictures, exactly when. And since I know this location very well, so I know, and we should actually be able to scale these pictures and see if it was human size or not. Because the interesting point here is that this is just about dusk. The sun is getting ready to go down. And he's walking from Missoula to East Missoula. And the little slot canyon's about like a mile and a half from the one to the other. And it's got all houses and train tracks and freeway and river at the base of it. And here's this Bigfoot walking along the denuded top of the mountain, Mount Jumbo, next to it, and he's snapping pictures of them.
Wow.
So, and I know exactly where he was at. So we are going to send somebody up there, and we're going to have them walk that route and see if they can make it in the allotted time, judging by the timestamp on the camera pictures, because we know exactly, you could plot it exactly where it is and have a human start out at point A and go to B, C, D, E, and keep going and see if they can actually cover that much distance that fast, because you got the timestamps on the picture. So this will be all kinds of fun. But to make a very overly long story short, I still haven't got him to come on the show yet. He's he's going to do it. He just hasn't bothered to show up and blah, blah, blah. Right. But I have seen all the pictures, and yeah.
I'd love to hear that story and see the pictures you can put with that, because I'm totally fascinated. I really don't even watch TV anymore, Duke. I just
Bigfoot shows.
Just Bigfoot research and talk about Bigfoot and hang out with Bigfoot people. I want to go research. And I don't think I've turned my TV on in I don't know, months probably. I record a couple of things and on TV, but I don't even care about TV anymore. It's like I'm just so I just like so many other people. I mean, I would say be careful, because if you go out there and you get addicted, I mean, it truly is an addiction. I think it's an addiction just as any other kind of addiction. So be prepared for that. And I mean, I'm planning on buying a 4-wheel drive Toyota 4Runner. I've got my eyes on a couple of them right now, and with 4-wheel drive and bigger tires, and I'm gonna make a bed in the back. I mean, I'm not only am I not gonna stop, I'm getting more and more.
You're upgrading. You're gonna have an actual Squatch mobile too.
Yes.
Yes. So you don't need a tent.
Yep, and I'm gonna put all my favorite people's YouTube channels on the back of it. Of course, yours is gonna go on there, and
thank you.
A few other my great friends, and of course my own, and I'm some yeah. I mean, it gets to be a lifestyle, I guess you'd call it. No different than RVing or whatever. People, they go to RVing and they meet new other people that RV, and their lives are happy. They're happy, and this makes me happy now. I fit into this crazy Bigfoot world. It's a part of me now.
Well, one fun thing about it is if you're doing field research, especially, you're out there looking for Bigfoot. Okay, so what's the worst case scenario? Well, you don't get to see Bigfoot, and you don't find any evidence of them, and that happens sometimes. But the upside of this is you're camping. So even if you don't see Bigfoot, you have succeeded in going camping, which is what most people go to the woods to do anyway. Unless they're hunting or something, they're generally kind of there to hike and camp. So You're going to do that anyway. Even if you miserably failed and you found nothing, you still got to go hiking and camping. So you still won.
Absolutely. I do love fishing and camping and cabins and things like that. And this just gives that love of that even just a better twist to it, because once you start doing this, and this, and so many other people that are listening and have started getting into this crazy stuff, and it's not crazy. I don't say that in a bad way, but I mean in a very great way. You get to the point where you can't go anywhere. There's even times I'm like, this weekend I'm just going to put this stuff out of my mind, and I'm going to go to do this or do that. I'm going to go to a festival. I'm not going to worry about Bigfoot. And before and I'm trying to not run off the road because I'm staring in the woods going, is that a structure? Did I see a TP?
Wait, that looks like a huge X over there. Where's the next exit? Get off the freeway.
And I kid you not, when I was coming back from somewhere, and one day, actually, I think I called you and told you about it too. And I said, man, I seen something big and black walking in the woods, and I tell you about lost mine. I'm like, I think that's one. And then I stopped, and I just, I turned around as fast as I could, and I raced back to him like, what was that? Where did it go? Where'd it go? Oh my God, where'd it go? It was a freaking cow in the woods. It was a cow. And, I was like, I just knew that was my Bigfoot sighting. But I mean, you can't stop. And that's what I say when it's an addiction. It's, I can't just drive down the road like normal people anymore. I mean, I'm always looking in the woods or scanning. My mind is always scanning, and that's just the way it is now.
I know, I do that too. It's hilarious how many other Bigfoot aficionados or researchers, whatever they want to call themselves, the people that are into it and know about the structures and stuff, just do that constantly, and it's like habitual. As much as Bigfoot walks through the woods, they snap a little twig habitually. we look for the trees, the little snap twig eventually. We're looking for those structures all the time because it's just like anything else. Once you start figuring out what to look for, it like reprograms your brain to want to look for it all the time.
Yes.
So when you look at the woods, you're not like looking for a deer or looking for squirrels.
No.
You're looking for an X structure or a TV or something. That's your brain is now programmed to look for when you're looking at it.
Absolutely.
So it tends to be a lot easier to find them because you're actually trying to, know what to look for and you're looking for it.
And absolutely. And, there's, when I go anywhere now, I'm like, I'll take the as many back roads as possible. And, I've had people say, why do you always take the long way? Because I'm looking for Bigfoot. Don't you all know that by now? There's times when I think I see a structure or something. And if I don't have the time to stop, I'm literally kicking myself going, oh, well, you should have stopped. What was that? That's probably something really good. What? Just go out in the woods and take a picture of it real quick. It won't take long. It's just an obsession. It's an obsession.
Funny experience happened to me and Richard when we were going up through the Skulko, just road squatching to see where the best spots were that we should probably go over and go further in the woods, take a look. And once we got in their ways, it was just ridiculous. There were structures everywhere visible from the road, both sides. So it was like, hey, well, we could just go anywhere, wherever you want to pull over. Apparently, it's all the same. They're everywhere. But before we got that far up, we just got to the very base of the pass, and it was right before the Gemstone mine. There's this huge arch, and I've got it on one of the early Skulko videos for Montana Bigfoot Project, where Richard was there, and he's standing underneath it for scale, and I'm taking pictures of it and stuff. And somebody comes driving by on the road, and they stop. So Richard goes over to talk to them, and while I'm walking around taking video, you can hear them off camera talking. And she goes, oh, what are you doing? Did you see the moose? And he's like, what moose? Yeah, there's a female moose around here. I've seen her a couple times. She wanders around in this area. And Richard goes, nah, we're just checking out Bigfoot structures. There's this silence. And then the person in the vehicle goes like, oh, okay, have a great day. Keep going. Oh, okay, that's normal. I was looking at Bigfoot structures.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's just perfectly normal. But
this thing is like right next to the road, which is how we noticed it. There's this little field, there's a little clearing right next to it, like 50 feet from the road.
Right.
And there's this huge arch, and you're like, no way. And then you go over there and look at it, and like, yeah, it's... There's the...
But
at one time, yeah.
I'm going to rule out snow load because there's not enough limbs to hold the snow enough to bend it over.
No.
You got your classic leaner. You got this one. This is a nice arch.
Big, too.
Yeah.
There's one up on Sentinel that's about 2-3 times as thick as that one is.
So there's a moose down in here. We thought maybe you guys saw it.
No.
No, I got pictures of him weeks ago.
The bull or the cow and the calf?
It's about a yearling.
She's a full-fledged mama.
Oh,
This is what
really?
the area looks like here. It's kind of rainy today. It just stopped raining here. So, give you guys a quick look at where we're standing here.
We're just filming Bigfoot. No, nothing to see here.
The edge of the arch. And going back again. There's the road up there. So we're right next to the road. This arch is right next to the road.
I've found some really good arches that were pinned under logs and some really good size one. I mean, out again in Mineola Nature Preserve, there's one that's at least probably 7 foot tall, and it's not a real tiny tree. It's a good sized tree, and it's tucked under a big ass log. And I'm like, yeah, that's perfectly normal. No big deal. But that's what we have found. We've been finding footprints out there now, and I'm like, it's become more serious. I mean, I'm joking around and stuff like that, but I'm fascinated with that. I have a love for these creatures now. I mean, I want to find out more. I want to learn more. I want to research more. And yeah, I do. I want to have a sighting. I do. I want to see one for myself. Not that I don't believe, because absolutely 100% I do with all the stuff I've been finding and the footprints and things like that and my friends. And I absolutely 100% believe in them, but you just want to see, you get to the point where you just want to see one. And I just think that I will. I just have a feeling that I will.
Well, you probably will. And hopefully it's not going to be a really mean, crabby one with a spooky Halloween face that makes you want to scream, run, and eat your own vomit afterwards.
Yeah, I'm going to hope not. I'm going to hope for for not to happen. But I'm not going to be by myself, I'm sure, when it happens. So that'll help too. Other people, I'm researching with people now that actually have had sightings, and stuff like that. So they, just like you've had encounter sightings, you've seen enough evidence that you're a lot more calmer with other people that are freaking out. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that I won't freak out when I have my first sighting.
Well, I tend to believe from, going over hundreds, if not thousands of encounter reports and my own experience out there for decades and all the researchers I talk to and everything, for the most part, they're not super aggressive. You kind of got to screw up and piss them off in order to get them to throw a tantrum most of the time. That being said, that doesn't hold true 100% of the time. There are times where it's really hard to figure out what happened. Somebody was just strolling through the woods, and all of a sudden Bigfoot's there having an S attack and, giving them a bluff charge or roaring at them or something, and they don't know what's going on or what they did wrong.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe they didn't do anything wrong. They're just walking down the trail toward where Mama Squatch and the Squatchlets are, and Daddy decided that they walked far enough, and he's going to go scare them away.
Right. Right. I mean, that's, I think anything can be unpredictable. People, Sasquatch, animals, it doesn't matter. I think anything can be unpredictable. But like I said, after I got over the fear, because I did definitely have a lot of fear. I mean, like I said, I can't believe sometimes I'm where I'm at, because I remember looking back going, what is wrong with these people? Why in the hell they keep going in the woods? And, now the people who is going in the woods, and down Houston National Forest, running out without no flashlights and, things and I would have never thought I would have done something like that. But in my own area, especially, I'm not, like I said, I've been here for 10 years. I feel like if they've ever wanted to be aggressive or hurt anyone or do something,
they
to anyone, they could have done it. So I've lost that. I've lost that fear. I'm not saying I've completely lost my fear. You cannot help but have a little bit of fear of something that's 8 foot tall and 4 foot wide that walks around out in the woods. It's got a footprint that's, 18, 19 inches long. But like I said, I don't feel like they're out here just looking. They're not hunting people. You know what I mean?
No.
So.
Well, and the other thing, though, is once they become aware that you're aware of them, things change a bit.
Yes. I believe that, but the last weekend after and I think one of the last videos I sent you, we come across, I don't know what it was. It looked almost like a little house in the woods. It was kind of woven up, and I showed a couple of pictures, and I actually did a video of it, and I've got a picture of me standing under it, and it's just really big. Yeah. But when we came across that, there was a branch, a very fresh, long branch, probably 20-foot long branch, and it had been peeled off of a tree, and it was just laying there by this thing. And we couldn't find where that branch came from. I mean, we looked around, we couldn't find, and it looked, like I said, it wasn't just an old dead branch that fell. It was very fresh, green, and had been peeled. You can tell it still had, in fact, I took a hold of the bark and I twisted and I rolled it around my finger because it was so fresh. It was very pliable and soft. And I was like, we couldn't figure out where it come from. We just couldn't figure out where it come from. And, interesting things like that. And that right there, if there wasn't so many trees in my way, I could see it from my back porch in the woods. Huh. I mean, it's right. We got a creek that runs through all the way through the back of my house in the woods behind my house. And I still don't know if that's very intriguing to me. And I'm going to go back out there actually in the next day or two. Because I was out squatching last week and I actually lost my glasses.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to go look for them and see if Bigfoot's put them up on a tree for me or something. But I want to go back out there and see if anything has changed. And that's one of the things I do with these little areas. I'm learning to do that, is keep going back every couple of weeks and say, has anything changed? And sometimes there's stuff missing off of the structure. And I've actually documented that too, where there's parts missing off of it or something be gone or whatever. It's changed. So, and I'm very curious about that branch, because is there more branches there now? Will I find a footprint? We've got more rain in the last week since I've been gone. Just interesting things like that. I'm starting to pay way more attention to the stuff around my house than I used to. And then also that night I was actually talking to a friend about 1:00 in the morning after we had researched that Sunday, and I heard some really odd things in the woods behind my house, and it sounded like some thumps. Strangely enough, I have a privacy fence that runs to the back, toward that area where we were at. And there's a road but there's some mulberry trees and a road in between my fence and the backwoods, and then there's a creek. And I heard two very distinctive thumps, like big thumps, not like just little bitty thumps. I'm just like something just bang bang, at two different times. And I was like, I wonder if they're out there going, hey, we know you was out here messing with their stuff. What y'all doing? Or just coming up. I mean, I don't know, but normally used to that would scare the holy crap out of me. But now I'm just like, it doesn't scare me anymore. I just think, well, if they know that I know, then that's fine. I tell them I love them. I'll talk to them out there, and go, thank you for giving me a footprint, and I love you.
Yeah, and they appreciate that you acknowledge that they're there. So
yeah,
they can decide to follow you back to your house and slap your wall.
Yeah, well, that's fine. They can do that, and I'll allow that. I'll allow that. But I'm going up to Montana. I remember we had talked about that. I actually got some friends in a couple of girlfriends, Cindy, Amanda, Raven, and you. And I'm going to try to come out sometime the end of the summer. I'm going to try to make a trip out there, fly out there, and hopefully we can all get together and go on some little excursions ourselves.
Well, right on. I definitely agree with that. And once again, I don't think you're going to be able to make it for the actual meet and greet. That's coming up fairly soon. 21st, 22nd, 23rd June. And it's free. Show up with camping gear. It's free.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to make it. Got some other trips planned and trying to get some. Yeah, I just don't think I'll be able to make it that early, but that's okay. Like I said, when I come, I'll just let everybody know I'm coming and we'll just do our own little thing.
Yeah, well, I go out and do squatching as much as I can during the summer. It's just, I want to have an open invitation once or twice during the warmer months when anybody that wants to show up and go look for Bigfoot out in the mountains with Duke can do so. And that's sort of the meet and greet thing here coming up in June. But we are about out of time, so I'm going to have you back again for updates as you find more stuff in the future. And I want to encourage everybody to take themselves on over to East Texas Bigfoot Research, your YouTube channel, and go check it out. Check out all your cool videos that you got over there. This is like one of those really interesting things that if you're interested in Bigfoot research, you should really pay attention to what Mary's doing, because she has been documenting everything right from the very beginning. And like, who the heck does that? And she's finding stuff, and she's getting better at finding stuff. So it's fun to watch somebody go from, I'm interested in Bigfoot, I want to go out in the woods and look for it myself, to they're actually finding stuff and documenting it. And then we'll see where it goes from there. And yes, she probably will run into one at some point, and hopefully she'll be calm enough to get some good pictures. So I won't have to give her a hard time for not taking pictures.
Oh, I'm going to try. I'm definitely going to try. And you'll be the first one I call.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
you'll know the tone of my voice. You go, you seen one, didn't you? Yes. Did you get a picture? Yes.
It's blurry, though. Yeah, Bigfoot and his blurry pictures. It's like that one Canadian said, the problem with Bigfoot is that it's not that the cameras are messed up. It's that Bigfoot is blurry. We've got this giant blurry monster running around the woods, and that's even scarier than having one that's in focus.
Right. Well, hey, who knows? Maybe I'll get a good.
No, they're not actually blurry, but when the ones that are black, man, it's almost like they absorb the light. They're so hard it's hard to even see them, really. Unless they're standing right out in the sunlight. They're a blob, they're a shadow. That's what they look like.
Well, in my future, I'm definitely going to be getting some infrared cameras, blur cameras, things like that.
Right on.
That'll help too.
Okay, well, thanks so much for coming on the show, dear. I really appreciate it. And make sure you come back again when you got more to share with us, won't you?
Absolutely.
All righty.
Dude.
And for everybody else out there, a bunch of you probably know that I've been having some medical issues, and the update is that I'm not in the hospital, obviously, because I'm recording a show. But unfortunately, I am having to go back there every day for I don't know how much longer. I'm an outpatient. I'm having to go get really heavy-duty antibiotics pumped into me every day, in addition to the ones that I'm taking orally. I had some digestive system problems and was bleeding internally, short version. So that really wore me down because that was going on apparently for about 4 months. So I'm recovering from it now, but I really appreciate all of those of you who prayed for me, because that worked spectacularly. They pretty much let me out of the hospital in a very short amount of time. And again, to all of those of you who have been donating to keep the show going, I love you guys. I really appreciate it so much. And, you know, now with these additional medical issues and other things going on here, it's, you know, making things a lot tougher to keep going. So every bit of help I can get, I really love you guys. And and to that end, if you want to donate to keep the show going, or to help me cover medical bills or whatever, if you can throw a penny or $1 million at me, I'll take anything in between. Send it to paypal.me/World Bigfoot Central. And if you need your own medicine supply, specifically CBD products, I've got the store set up for you. Go to myctfocbd.com/Duke Sullivan. I've got a store set up there, and it's a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if it doesn't work for you, you can get your money back. You're not risking anything, and a portion of the proceeds go to help this show. And so with that, everybody have a great night. Take care of each other, and you know what to do.
So make sure that you're kind to everyone. Safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puckwudgie. And for God's sake, whatever you do not hug the Wookiee. See you later, folks.